And welcome to a new episode of The Simpsons Did It. I'm your host, Steven Skolansky.
And I'm your co-host, Robert Skolansky.
And today we're going to find our long-lost stuffed animal. Do you have a long-lost stuffed animal?
You know, there is one that I really actually miss. It was a, do you remember the Goofy stuffed animal we had as kids that we always fought over?
No.
Well, that really killed the conversation. Thanks. I do actually miss my Daffy Duck.
I thought we fought over the Daffy Duck.
No, we fought over Goofy. I miss my Daffy Duck and my Oscar the Grouch. Although the Oscar the Grouch stuffed animal I have.
Well, I have the stoned Oscar the Grouch.
Why do you have my Oscar the Grouch?
I don't know. I think Mom just put all the stuffed animals in a
did.
big giant suitcase for Elliot and brought them up. Dude, all the stuffed animals from our childhood look like they're stoned.
Probably.
Like all the eyes are like red and...
Well, I remember the Daffy Duck. I think I had to recolor in the eyes a couple of times.
Yeah. Our Tickle Me Elmo looks pretty stoned too.
That is your Tickle Me Elmo. Mom got that for you. No, I miss my Oscar and my Daffy. Those are my two favorite. The Oscar the Grouch actually had a trash can lid that came like sewn on its head, but I don't know what happened to that. That lid is long gone.
Maybe it's in a ice bag.
Maybe. Is there a stuffed animal that you miss, or do you actually have?
So my Harry, my dog, I think Mom and Dad might still have it because it was like torn and tattered and kind of like Bobo. I mean, it was torn, tattered, ripped up, and I just didn't want it here because I didn't want it to get even more destroyed. But yeah, I mean, if I could have a long lost stuffed animal and someone were to find it in a bag of ice, I think my Harry would definitely fit that bill.
I think my most prized stuffed animal that I have was one that I got after our grandfather passed away. It was a dog. It was a brown dog.
Yep.
And
I remember that guy.
Yeah, I still have him. I have a few stuffed animals left over. I just don't have them out.
Yeah.
I also have Morbo, which is another Matt Groening property that you bought for me.
I did, yes.
So this week we are doing season 5, episode 4, titled Rosebud. And for those of you who aren't major movie buffs, this is a reference to the movie Citizen Kane, which is perhaps some people claim one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but you know, it's a good movie, you know.
It's right up there with Geely. No? Was it Geely?
You can just edit that line out. I hope everybody listening to our podcast finds out where you live or work and harasses you for that line. How dare you?
I just tried picking the worst possible movie to pair up with that just for that joke.
God. See, the air date for this episode is October 21st. Yep. October 21st, 1993. Recap. When Maggie gets Mr. Burns' childhood teddy bear from Bart, it leads to a struggle for ownership.
Man, I feel like if we ever found a oh, you know what? Okay. All right, look at this. Okay. So it's not a stuffed animal, but if either of us were at Mom and Dad's house and we just so happen to stumble across our old copy of Turtles in Time, oh, that would be a struggle for ownership right there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know what ever happened to that. I thought you had it.
Nope, I don't have it.
I don't have it. I don't know what happened to it.
Mom better not have gotten rid of it because she's been getting rid of a lot of our junk.
Yeah, she has. Once again, no chalkboard gag this week. And honestly,
needed more time. We needed more time for this.
Honestly,
episode.
This is a fantastic episode. Before I get into the couch gag, I do want to, we're in our 5th season, and I as our listeners know, we do a lot of research for this show, and I was seeing if this couch gag was ever used before. And it has been used a lot in syndication only. This is one of the few times I think it's actually so this is a new couch gag. Well, I went back to the first episode that they used for syndication, which is Bart the Genius. And I was like, oh, I'll watch the intro, see if, if it's there. It wasn't. It was whatever the original one for Birth of Genius was. Just within the first 5 seasons, the striking difference of animation for the openings has just changed so much. It is, I know we've talked about in past podcasts of like what's changed and all that, but like just from season 5 and season 1, it is such a stark contrast of animation.
Yeah.
And I know, like, when we started this podcast, we talked a lot about, the animation from season 1 to season 33 is just so different. Not even in that time frame, in 5 years.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. So the couch gag this week, the Simpsons are already sitting on the couch when the Simpsons come running in. There are 2 Simpsons families.
No, multiverse.
Multiverse, yeah, dude, let's get a Simpsons multiverse. Well, we kind of do because they did the crossover with Family Guy.
Yep. It's Simpsons multiverse. The Simpsons crossed over because Loki broke apart the world. Okay, wait, this is now. This was like 18 years ago. Okay, never mind.
The Simpsons.
What would have been better? What would have been better is the Simpsons that either were on the couch or the Simpsons that ran in had like goatees.
That would have been funny.
All of them. Good. Marge and Lisa too. All of them have goatees.
What is this, like the Halloween episode where Homer uses the toaster to time travel?
No, this was in reference to I guess you could call it either South Park, because the evil South Park kids had goatees.
Oh, that's right.
Or wasn't there a Futurama, the evil universe was like different colors. They weren't
Well, I don't remember if they really did do an evil universe. The last universe they ended up in was where they had Goldbender.
Yep. Yeah.
So
all right, so 2 Simpsons families. We'll keep an eye on that. Maybe it was their stunt doubles. Maybe the stunt doubles ran in.
Yeah, okay.
All right, there we go. Okay, so we start this episode on Burns's manor. There's warnings for keeping out because obviously Mr. Burns doesn't want trespassers or anything like that. Yeah. So you get warning, keep out, danger, electrified fence, which. Sure. Trespassers will be shot. Now I know we'll talk about the guards in a minute, but is there just like a sniper tower or something on Mr. Burns' property? Because I know he's not doing the shooting.
Well, we know he's not strapped for cash.
Right. And then the final sign is free kittens, inquire within. Now, is that just a ruse so Mr. Burns can release the hound, shoot someone?
Well, I don't know, because if you look at that sign, it is handwritten and taped to the fence.
Okay, so a prank?
Maybe.
Like Bart Simpson prank?
Maybe.
Maybe that'd be a good prank.
Yeah.
Prank? So those of you who don't know, go listen to last episode.
Yes.
So Burns, now we cut up to the front door and Burns has guards chanting in the front of the home, and that is a reference to the Wizard of Oz.
Yep, the Winky guards. Oh,
yeah.
wee-yo.
Wee-yo. And so,
yes. So, the 1939 Wizard of Oz.
Yep. Oh, yeah, the old school guy. And so I like how Smithers opens the little door, kind of like in Wizard of Oz at the Emerald City, opens up like the top of the door thing. It's like, shh. And they're like, oh, wee-yo. I don't know. I mean, Mr. Burns, I guess, could be a witch.
Yeah.
I could think that.
No, he's a warlock.
He's a warlock, yeah. Yeah. So now, Mr. Burns, we cut to Mr. Burns. He's in a dream, like he's a little kid. He's happy. He has his teddy bear. Who's not a happy kid with their teddy bear? Yeah. And the teddy bear's name is Bobo. And so now his parents kind of walk out, and they call him Happy. Hey, Happy. So I don't know if that was his real name and the new guys changed it because Happy's a dumb name.
Well, I don't know. So here's the thing with
or
this
was
dream.
he like, or maybe it was like a happy little kid, and so that was his nickname. Like his nickname was Happy.
It could have been his nickname. Now I know Snow White came out way before this, so wasn't there a Happy Dwarf?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So maybe like he liked Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, and he was a happy kid, and so that's where it came from. But so is this dream canon? Is this how Mr. Burns got his start as a billionaire?
Well, yeah, obviously, because the bear is canon, so the whole thing would have to be canon.
But like but again, it's a dream.
Well, okay, so what was it? There was a few episodes ago where, remember, it was it the Homer Goes to College, right? Where the Atom Smasher thing, and Mr. Burns is walking with his father or something in the shop, the Atom shop.
Oh, yeah.
So that must have been his new adopt, because he was a little bit older than he was in this.
That is true.
So that'd be my guess. The billionaire was a nuclear power plant owner guy. And so in his dream, his parents ask if Burns would like to stay with them or go with a billionaire. And obviously Burns is like, let's roll.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if our parents gave us a chance to stay with them or go with a billionaire, I would choose the billionaire 100 times over. Because as a kid, you just want money.
Yeah, I like money. And you don't want your Bobo anymore, because Burns dropped his Bobo, got in the car, and his dad's like, you forgot about your bear. It's a symbol of your lost youth and innocence.
Yeah.
But at least it stuck with them. I mean, for X number of years. So we're looking at, what was this, 1939, right?
Yeah.
No.
Well, we don't know that was the reference. We don't know what year this is, but I gotta believe. Well, he has. I mean, so spoiler alert: this episode kind of revolves also around Burns' birthday. We do know when his birthday is. We just don't know what year he was born.
Yep. And so the dad's like, drops the bear's like, oh well, we still have his brother George, and he's like, and so he does like the whole like mannerism of comedian George Burns, which obviously last name is Burns. But what's funny is now, okay, so you get whatever adopted new family. Yeah. I guess it's up to the new parents if you take on the new last name or keep your old last name.
Or maybe the billionaire is a relative.
Well, he didn't say that. I think it was just some random billionaire guy.
Well, but we don't know who this billionaire is. Maybe both families have the last name Burns. We don't know.
That's pretty random.
It would be random, but we just don't know.
Yeah. I kind of want to know how George Burns turns out.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe as a comedian.
Or here's what we need. We need a new Simpson episode where we introduce George Burns as Burns' brother. Like Burns' brother comes to town.
Maybe.
Like let's get that episode. We need all these episodes we're rehashing from so long ago. We've picked out Simpsons fans and Simpsons workers. If you guys listen to our podcast, listen to our thoughts, because we have some cool things you could possibly bring back out into the woodwork.
Yeah.
So then obviously we see Bobo getting covered with snow-covered day, pans out to Burns holding a snow globe while he's sleeping, and he says he wants his teddy bear back and drops his snow globe on the ground, and we see a box of snow globes, because obviously Burns needs a whole box of snow globes, and they're called Never Break snow globes.
Get it? Because the snow globe breaks.
Yeah,
they never break.
Okay, now does Burns or Smithers clean up all his snow globes every night? So is he like we pan across the floor? And there's a good probably 15 broken snow globes. Is Smithers cleaning these up?
No, they're gonna leave it there so they can step on it and cut their feet.
Well, that's a lot of snow globes to break in one night. Or does Burns just have constant simultaneous Bobo dreams?
I don't know. Maybe this is when the Bobo dream kicked in, and
because it's so close to his birthday. Maybe Burns got the bear for his birthday, and it triggers, in your subconscious about dreaming about your Bobo for your birthday.
Also, I'm pretty sure the only reason the scene with the snow globes exists is so they could actually reference Citizen Kane some more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So when Burns throws the snow globe in his bedroom on his bedroom floor, a reflection of a shattered one, where Smithers enters a room mirrors from Citizen Kane, with a nurse entering the room of the late Kane, and yeah, they did this as an exact reshoot of that scene.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
By the way, I'd like to point out in Citizen Kane, spoiler alert for a 70-year-old frickin' movie. He says, so the guy's final word in the movie is Rosebud. And so like the whole movie is just a retelling of this guy, but nobody actually heard him say the word Rosebud. That is the biggest plot hole in that movie. And the nurse that finds him, I believe, doesn't even speak English.
Oh, good. Good. Perfect. Thanks for ruining a 70-year-old movie. All right. And so I like how Burns is like, I want my teddy, Bobo. And then waking up to Smithers like over his head. It's like, oh, it's you. The bedpan's under my pillow.
Oh, gross.
Why
would that be there?
I don't know.
Why would it be under the bed?
Because he likes sleeping on metal. Oh. And Smithers like, who's Bobo, sir? Bobo? I meant Lobo. Sheriff Lobo. They never should have canceled that show.
Oh, God. And so Smithers, says, okay, sir, I believe you. And he tells Mr. Burns that the preparations for his birthday have begun. And Burns is like, he's like, I'm not going to get what I really want. And Smithers is like, no one ever does. And we get this thought bubble where Smithers is like, we see a naked Mr. Burns with a sash popping out of a cake singing Happy Birthday, Mr. Smithers, like Marilyn Monroe did to JFK.
Oh, my God.
Happy birthday, Mr. Burns.
Mr. Smithers.
Oh, Mr. Smithers, you're right.
So which fantasy thus far do you think is better? Burns flying through the window or Burns popping out of the cake?
Ooh, man. I don't think I've ever had the dream of somebody flying through my window, so I'm going to go with the cake.
Okay.
Because I like cake. Cake is good. And so now we, cut to the Simpsons house where Homer is actually having a dream about the cancellation of the show Sheriff Lobo. And then he wakes up and he kind of screams a little bit. And then he looks at his calendar and he screams. And Marge's like, what's wrong? And he's like, it's Mr. Burns' birthday. And we got an animation error here. So the September calendar matches up with the 93 calendar. However, there are 31 days on that calendar. How many days are in the month of September, Steve?
50. No.
30.
30 days past September.
Yeah. So, how do you screw that up?
Because maybe they thought it was August.
Maybe. And we learn that Mr. Burns' birthday is September 15th.
All right, we'll have to remember to celebrate Mr. Burns' birthday every year now.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, they had an extra day to. Maybe they thought maybe
it was a leap year.
Wait. So one of two things. Maybe they originally had it as August or October, and then at the last minute they changed it to September. But they already had the 31. But the thing is, they had it set up for the September calendar for 93.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Like, it's weird. And so Homer, Marge's like, oh, why is Mr. Burns' birthday so bad? And Homer's like, because he makes all the employees work it, and I always get stuck with the worst job. And so we get a flashback of Homer holding up a piñata. So, I don't think I've ever been to a party where a piñata wasn't held up by, like, the ceiling. Like, you just tie it to the ceiling. Nobody actually holds it.
Yeah.
And Mr. Burns, like, is swinging at it, and he keeps missing, and then he finally whacks Homer with it in the flashback. But it's not like it's hard or anything, because it's Mr. Burns.
I mean, Mr. Burns was going pretty good at that piñata. I mean, who doesn't want candy?
That is true. Candy is a good motivator. And so Homer, so now we cut to the power plant, and Homer somehow manages to not only wear a shirt with a hanger in it, but pants as well. How?
Okay, the shirt I kind of get because maybe he just forgot, and the shirt goes through the armholes, right?
Yeah, but you would feel it.
No. Well, that aside, Homer's an idiot. So that aside, you could physically put on a shirt, and the hanger would be still there.
Okay, yes.
Pants, on the other hand, most people hang their pants through the hanger.
Correct.
So you would have to remove the pants from said hanger to put them on. So why there's a hanger in Homer's pants, that's just a classy joke.
Yeah. And so, we cut upstairs, and Burns and Smithers are watching Homer getting laughs.
Yeah, he's like, that man who's getting all the laughs, Smithers. Who is he? Homer Simpson, sir. One of your carbon blobs from Sector 7G. But I don't think that I want this Simpson fellow to perform comedy at my party. I must harness his fractured take on modern life.
Oh, God. I would not suggest hiring Homer Simpson to do stand-up comedy at your birthday, and we'll find out in a little bit why.
Well, Mr. Burns has no clue who he is.
I know. Well, as we'll find out, Mr. Burns has a terrible memory. So Smithers wants Homer. So Smithers like, all right, I'll start getting on his notes so he can have Sinbad-esque material. I don't think I've ever actually listened to Sinbad.
No.
I've seen him in a couple of movies.
Yeah, but I don't think I've ever actually watched any of his comedy specials.
No, so I have no idea what his stand-up material is like. And so then we cut to Homer writing jokes in his kitchen. By the way, Steve, I have a question.
Yes.
Is poo-poo one word or two?
I'm thinking two.
I think poo-poo is 2 words.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2.
Oh God, that's hilarious. I'm sorry. I work in television. I have a child's like sense of humor.
Yeah. So Marge doesn't think Homer making fun of Mr. Burns is a good idea. but Lisa's like, well, if Homer does it in a classy way, it'll be good. And,
yeah, Lisa, this is your father.
Yeah. And Homer's like, well, I'm going to close it by doing an impression where I pull down my pants and have a frowny face on my butt. And Lisa's like, no.
Bart, I love how like Bart laughs at it, but Lisa and Marge are like do their that annoying grunt thing.
Bart is totally for it. He is.
But we've seen Homer do impressions of Mr. Burns. Why not do one of those? Hello, I am Mr. Burns. I think you have a package for me.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he could do that. That'd be pretty classy. Yeah. And so we get a headline on whatever tape newspaper. Was it a Springfield
Chopper?
Okay. Apparently the whole town needs to know this. But the headline reads, Burns' birthday today. And it credits a long lifespan to Satan. Which
I love the picture of Burns giving Satan $1 billion.
Well, he has to fund hell somehow.
Hell doesn't need funding.
Oh, does it?
It just works by itself. It doesn't need any funding. Like, nobody's getting paid to work in hell. I mean, everybody's dead.
Yeah.
It's not like they have shops down there that sell I survived hell t-shirts.
That'd be great. I want one of those. But I do like that the Satan in the picture is our current version of Satan.
Yes. I love that Satan.
Now, next episode, we break this. We break this whole tie of who Satan looks like.
But don't forget, everybody, Halloween specials are non-canon, so you don't have to worry about it.
Sure. Okay, you keep telling yourself that. So Homer practices his routine up in the bedroom before leaving and calls Mr. Burns incontinent. And Lisa's like, do you even know what incontinent means?
And Bart and Homer do not. And for those of you out there who don't know... Quit
ruining my fun, Lisa.
For those of you out there who don't know what incontinence is, it just means you can't control your bladder anymore.
I can feel Mr. Burns is that.
Well, he has a bedpan under his pillow.
Exactly. So Homer might be onto something.
Yeah.
And I like how Homer's outfit is in the stylings of like Bob Newhope.
Yeah, that's
where it's
fantastic.
like the golf jacket, golf club. You know, Homer's really going old school with these. Let's make fun of everyone.
Yeah.
And so Marge tells Homer it's time to go, and he's like, "Okay, stupid." And Marge tells Homer, "You got to stop insulting people, especially your boss."
Yeah,
Homer was just going for the roast, man. Just going for the roast.
Yeah.
And so Homer says, "Oh, roasting is fine," and goes outside and tells Flanders he smells like manure. And Flanders like, "Oh, thanks for the update. I'm just gonna have to cancel my dinner party."
Could Flanders just take a shower?
No time.
He was outside doing yard work. I'd assume he would take a shower anyways.
Yeah, probably. And that might be why he smells like manure. Is he probably was doing fertilizer in his garden.
Well, I think Homer was just telling him he smelled like shit to roast him.
Oh, right.
Even though he probably didn't.
Well, yeah. I mean, I bet Flanders always smells good, regardless of what he's doing.
But like, couldn't he just I love how Flanders like, I guess I got to cancel my dinner party. Couldn't you just take a shower and shower that off? I don't know.
Yeah. So now we see a bunch of sad people slowly walking into the building where Mr. Burns' birthday party is happening. And we see a sign, "No, happy birthday, Mr. Burns." Now, how can anyone obligate anyone to go to this party? I mean, you could just not show up. Now, there was people from people from all over Springfield?
Yeah.
Or was it just the nuclear power plant?
No, I'm pretty sure it was everybody in Springfield.
So how can you really...
Well, he is Mr. Burns. He does have a lot of influence.
I guess, but what is he going to do? Turn off the power of the whole town?
Yes.
Not like he's done that before.
Exactly. I love this next part.
And then but I like how everyone's bringing like gifts. Yeah. But yeah, Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon are on the guest list. But George H.W. Bush and Jimmy Carter are not allowed in because they only served one term. I like how the bouncers like, no one-term presidents.
Oh my God. I had no idea about this setup. Like, because I love this episode. I've seen this episode a lot, and I don't remember this at all.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic.
But I like how Carter tells Bush he knows a good yogurt place. And Bush is like, "Get away from me, loser."
Aren't they both technically losers, though?
At one time, yes.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so good.
And so now we get to Smithers' show of pictures, like a slideshow of Mr. Burns' life.
Yep.
And the pictures include Burns riding a tricycle.
It's like one of the, like those bikes that have like the big wheel and the small wheel. Well, this is like the big wheel, but two small wheels.
Yep. And Burns as 4 army men at Iwo Jima raising a Mr. Burns flag. So that might have been a little Photoshop.
Yeah,
I don't think that one was real.
No.
And then we get an image of Muhammad Ali defeating Sonny Liston, altered to have Mr. Burns' face over Muhammad Ali's body.
I love how it just looks like 2 pieces of tape with his picture.
Yeah, and then we also get Burns in a white dress that references Marilyn Monroe in the 7-Year Itch.
So it's the thing where she's standing over the vent holding her dress down.
Yep, and probably one of the only real photos in the entire slideshow. Mr. Burns, as a kid, holding Bobo. Now, I want to know where Smithers even got this photo from.
Yeah.
Like, Smithers didn't even know who Burns was when he was a kid, and it's not like, I don't know, where did this picture even, unless Burns just had it, he kept it as a memento or something.
And
random.
Smithers found it?
Yeah, that's the only thing I could really think of.
Or the picture just magically appeared in there so it can move the plot along.
Sure. And that just if anyone was wondering, a version of "Do You Know Where You're Going To" plays during the slideshow.
Yes. Do you know who sings that?
I don't.
Well, that's not helpful then.
Oh, do you know who sings that?
No.
Oh, I thought you were going to actually give some insight to that.
Yeah, right. I could find out.
That's okay. No one cares.
Okay.
But then you see Burns that sees Bobo and becomes depressed, and Smithers like, oh, I knew I should have put this photo in the stupid slideshow. What was I thinking?
Yeah.
And so now we cut to Smithers hiring the Ramones to play at the party. And didn't he say something like these youngsters are brand new on the scene or something like that?
Well, he said, yeah, they're going to go far.
They're going to go far. Yeah, it's already 93. They've gone pretty far already.
Yeah.
And so it's like the Ramones start playing, and they're like, we're here to sing a birthday song.
Well, Burns is like, well, I think these guys will soothe my jangled nerves. And then the band's like, this gig sucks. Up your Springfield. And then the Ramones start to sing Happy Birthday to Mr. Burns. But when they're done singing,
go to hell, you old bastard. And Burns has this whole like look on his face like, have the Rolling Stones killed. Sir, but those aren't the... Do as I say. I think they liked us.
So the funny thing is, the Rolling Stones. Well, who is the lead singer of the Rolling Stones?
Joey Ramone.
No, the Rolling Stones.
Oh, the Rolling. I thought you said Ramones. They all sound very similar.
The Rolling Stones. Do you remember who their lead singer is?
Steve Tyler.
I believe you're right. So he was, Steve Tyler was in a future episode of The Simpsons. So clearly Smithers did not have the Rolling Stones killed.
That's good. Probably a good idea.
Yeah. Oh God, I love that. That scene is on one of the albums.
That's a great scene.
Yeah, it is fantastic.
I love a lot of musical guests being themselves in The Simpsons.
Yeah.
They're always really fun. They're dressed really well. They, you know what I mean? Like the writers, and I'm sure the producers or whoever has to go out and actually fetch the artists and get the contract signed and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's all a good fun. I like it.
It is. So now we get to the best part of any birthday, unwrapping gifts. And Burns is gifted a unicorn. A ton of ties. There's ties everywhere.
Well, Mr. Burns likes wearing ties.
Yeah. I love how on the table there's like piles of cash and coins, and there's a genie's lamp on there somewhere, and gold bars.
Who found that?
Aladdin.
And why didn't they keep it?
Because Aladdin's a moron.
Or they're all out of wishes. They're like, let's just gift this lamp to Mr. Burns.
But there's gold bars and a giant pink diamond, which is probably actually worth a lot of money. And then the final gift he opens is a dustbuster, which was given to him by Marge.
Hey, we had a dustbuster. That thing was pretty cool.
Yeah, but what does Mr. Burns need a dustbuster for? He doesn't need help.
Yeah, he has slaves.
Yeah.
I mean, people that clean his house.
He's got cleaning people. I'm sure he pays them like a penny on every hour or something.
Yeah.
And Burns is like depressed, and so Smithers like, I had people hold candles in Australia to spell out your name, which is Monty Burns. And he's like, if you just tilt your head slightly to the screen, and Mr. Burns like, there's no time to look at that.
But it wasn't his full name though. That was the problem.
Yeah.
It wasn't Charles Montgomery Burns. They shortened it. There weren't enough people, or Australia wasn't big enough. They should have done Asia. That would have worked.
Asia.
Yeah.
And so then Smithers goes on stage and he tells the crowd a puppy, not unlike Lassie, was just run over, and then introduces Homer, as the stand-up comedy. And I'm pretty sure Smithers did that to kill Homer's set.
Homer was going to kill his set regardless.
Yeah. And so, Homer goes up there. He's like, are you ready to laugh? And then a guy's like, that poor dog. And he's like, Homer says again, are you ready to laugh? And a woman's like, be quiet, you awful man.
What were they trying to have a moment of silence for the dog?
I think so. And so then, first, Homer is, he starts off his set by saying, Mr. Burns is so cheap. And Burns is like, he just startled by it, and Homer sees him. He's like, Mr. Burns is so old. And Mr. Burns is like, how dare you? And so, Homer's just like, I have an impression of Mr. Burns. So he pulls down his pants with a frowny face on it. And before he introduces it, he's like, I think you guys will find this a little cheeky. God damn. And so he drops his pants, and there's two eyes and a frowny face drawn on his butt, and he goes, I'm Mr. Burns, blah blah blah, do this, do that, blah blah blah.
And you see Mr. Burns' face all like contorting, and it's like, oh my god. Now I'm surprised he has have Homer Simpson killed.
Yeah, right. And so then we cut to the Simpsons table, and Bart is just like, he's smiling while Lisa and Marge are not. And it's like, of course Bart would find this hilarious. And so Burns is like, he tells security to destroy Homer, in which they do. They whack him over the head with with a baton.
Yo. And
he's like, this party is over. And I love how like a riot squad SWAT team shows up and just starts beating the ever lovely crap out of people.
Could have just kicked him out, but no.
He's got to beat the people up.
Especially after they brought all those gifts.
That seems a little excessive.
He could have just released the hounds and had this problem solved.
Well, they weren't at his house, so he probably didn't have the hounds.
He probably brings his hounds everywhere he goes. Maybe.
And so now, we cut back to the Simpsons house, and Homer's got a bump on his head where he got whacked, and he's like,
so random when he gets like owies.
I know. And he's like, but where did I lose the audience? When Mr. Smithers told the audience there was a dead dog.
I don't know if Homer Set would have killed if the dog hadn't been mentioned, but we'll never know.
Yeah. And so Homer is like, I'll never wiggle my bare butt in public ever again. And now so this is the weirdest part of this entire episode. So we gotta get a really, really close-up shot of Lisa, who's clearly in the living room where this conversation isn't taking place. Or is it?
It is, yeah.
Okay. So we get a really, really close-up of Lisa saying, I would like to believe that this time, but it looks like older animation.
Oh, I guess I didn't catch that.
I think they reused that line.
Oh.
From like an older episode. I don't know what episode, but I feel like that was a reused scene. And then Marge is like, Bart, go get some ice. And before Bart leaves, he tells Homer not to be discouraged. And he's like, oh, don't worry. My butt will be ready for Aunt Selma's birthday. And then the same thing. It's the same animation where it's the same close-up where Lisa just says, I knew it. I don't know. I don't know where this animation came from because there's no reason to have that close-up of a shot of Lisa's face.
Yeah. Now, the funny thing is, I like how Bart gets sent out to go to the Quickie Mart to get ice. Don't they have like an ice tray or something in the...
We'll get to that in a minute.
No, but like an ice tray in the freezers or a bag of peas or... I don't know.
It's the Simpsons. They're poor. They don't have food.
Right. They keep missing out on all this money.
Yeah, and so now we go to Burns, and he's walking through his basement, and we get, so we see in the background a box labeled Priceless Antiques.
Yeah.
There's also two tablets sitting on the floor that I like to think are the 10 Commandments.
Yeah, probably.
Because it is Burns. There's also a trident back there. And Smithers like, well, you have all these things in your collection. And he mentions he has King Arthur's sword Excalibur.
Like he could lift that thing.
You're right. The only existing nude photo of Mark Twain and a rare first draft of the Constitution, or is it the Declaration of Independence?
No, I think it was the Constitution.
Okay. With the word suckers in it. And it looks like he also has a Venus de Milo in the background statue.
Yeah. It just looks like the gummy.
Yeah, just like the gummy, except it's an actual statue. And then so Burns is like, man, whatever. And Smithers like, you just want your bear Bobo, don't you? And Smithers like, you're a liar. He's like, I'm going to give you a threshing of the lifetime. And he just like flails his arms at him, but it's just not really doing anything because Burns is an old man.
Yeah. And Burns says he's gone. Bear's gone forever. And we would like to know what happened to his Bobo. And so now we get the journey of Bobo.
Yes.
And so the bear lays in the snow and is carried away in a stream. It's like the snow melts and a stream just appears. And then we cut to 1927. So let's say Burns gets adopted at, what would you say, 5, 6?
We'll go 5.
5, okay, so...
Because that's a nice round number.
Okay, so let's say he was born 1922.
Yes.
All right.
That would put him at 71 years old in this episode.
Okay, that's not horrible.
No.
That's not horrible. I think let's go with that until we hear different.
I thought we did hear different, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. But let's say for this episode, 1922 was the year he was born.
Okay.
Let's go with that. Okay, so the bear washes up on a riverbank, and it's grabbed by Charles Lindbergh, and is flown to Paris in the spirit of St. Louis.
By the way, he found him in New York.
That's what I said.
So, did you?
Yeah, 1927, New York.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you say New York.
As Lindbergh throws it into the cheering crowd, Hitler jumps up and catches it. Like they were giving away T-shirts at a stadium event.
So here's the thing. Charles Lindbergh was a Hitler sympathizer.
Oh.
So, yeah. So this makes a lot of sense.
He just knew Hitler was down there in Paris, and gave the bear to Hitler.
Yes.
Okay. So then we cut to 1945 Berlin, where Hitler is sitting in his bunker with the bear. There's explosions heard nearby, and he's like, "This is your fault."
By the way, I did rewind the scene once because they did like the floor pan thing where they like pan down.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, what was that?" And the floor above him is just a dead soldier.
Like in the floorboards, or just above?
Just above them on the next floor.
Oh, that would have been funnier if it was in the floorboards.
I know.
Then we cut to 1957, the North Pole. The bear is enclosed in a block of ice on top of the Nautilus nuclear submarine.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty cool. And then we cut to 1993. The bear is uncovered by members of a polar expedition. And then we cut to 1993 Springfield. The bear is sold in a bag of ice to the Quickie Mart. And I like how the guys are like, "You gotta find a better way to get ice. We lost 3 men on this expedition."
Isn't it 4?
Or 4 men on this expedition. I think the best way to get ice would be to freeze it, cut it up.
I love how Apu's like, "Well, if you have another way to make ice, I'd really like to hear it." And like the guys on the expedition are like, I don't have anything for this. Really? Just pour water out of a tap and stick it in the freaking freezer.
Yeah, that's probably bad.
I love the fact that he also charges $1 per bag, which is weird because it's Apu, because he upsells everything.
Yeah, I mean, you could go to fucking Wendy's and buy an 8-pound bag of ice for $1.
Really?
At least up here you can. I guess I don't know where it is across the country, but yeah, you can go to Wendy's, buy an 8-pound bag of ice for
like the fast food chain Wendy's.
Yeah,
they sell bags of ice.
Yeah, up here
Weird.
They do. Up here they do.
Never seen that down here.
I mean, it's mostly during the summer. I think they don't do that during the winter, but yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And so Bart goes into the cooler, grabs a bag of ice, like, "Ew, there's a head in it. Yeah. That bag is chock full of heady goodness."
Oh God.
Yeah. And then Bart takes the ice bag home and then realizes it's actually a stuffed bear. It's probably diseased or something. Here you go, Maggie.
Oh yeah. I'm sure Marge probably saw Maggie playing with it and maybe cleaned it off.
Maybe. Well, we also know later on, like a little bit later on, she's like, "Oh, we probably should get this eye sewn back on."
Yeah.
But I like how the camera zooms in on the tag of Bobo and says 100% cotton with the dramatic music. And then we hear a record scratch, and then the camera basically like loops, finds its way across the other side of the bear, and we see the name Bobo.
And more dramatic music because, it's Burns' bear and that's how they do it.
Yep. And so Smither goes into the room dressed as, now he comes back, he goes up dressed as a big stuffed bear, thinking that'll cheer up Mr. Burns. And he's like, "Hug me, squeeze me, pet me."
God damn it, Smithers. God damn it.
He thought he got Burns on that one.
Yeah.
He really thought he was going to get Burns with that one. And Burns like, "Knock it off." and go find my teddy bear, but leave the costume. Like, what does he want to put it on?
I guess. I mean, it looks warm and cozy.
Yeah. He's like, I'm cold. I'm going to put on this costume or cuddle with it. Either way. And so we go to the milk factory and we see Smithers covering up pictures of Milhouse on it with Mr. Burns or with Bobo.
No. So now I have a question. So on milk cartons, they don't really do this anymore. I don't really know how much this actually happened way back in the day, but when you see a kid on a milk carton, that implies they're missing.
Yes.
So is Milhouse missing?
Well, let's see. We haven't gotten to that episode yet where he's running from the guy from The Fugitive.
Yes.
We haven't gotten, I don't know. I can't think of any past episodes where Milhouse.
Or is this just kind of like a joke because we haven't seen Milhouse, but we have?
I guess I'm trying to think of the last episode that we had a Milhouse.
Cape Fear.
Oh, good call. Okay, so that was only 2 episodes ago.
2 episodes ago.
Maybe what's his face? Sideshow Bob escaped jail and kidnapped him.
Why would he kidnap him?
To get at Bart, because Bart knows he'd pay a ransom. I don't know. Anyway, Milhouse is missing. Yay!
Boo! Watch, he shows up in the next episode.
Yeah, that'd be great. And so, Kent Brogman is now doing a story on Bobo.
Which I don't know if that really qualifies as news.
Burns owns the media.
Well, as we'll see later on in this episode, he might.
Yeah, he might own the media. And so Ken says it could be anywhere in the world. It could be in your house. You could be looking at it right now. Yeah, we see Homer watching the news program with Maggie playing with the bear right in front of him.
You could be staring at it right now while a loved one, like a baby, could be playing with it. I love that gag. I love that gag so much.
It's so good. And Homer yells at Maggie, he's like, put that moldy old bear down. And Homer's like, moldy? Old? I gotta get something to eat.
I love when he says that. It just makes him seem like, oh, he realizes Maggie has the bear, but then it's like, nope. It's the nice swerve of, I gotta get something to eat.
Was he thinking of the old sandwich?
Oh, probably.
Moldy and old. Maybe he was thinking of that some sandwich.
Maybe.
And so now we cut back to Burns' mansion, and Professor Frink has built a robot bear for Burns. So this is another episode where we have a robot that is basically evil. I think the Simpsons basically just can't get robots right.
No.
And so the bear starts attacking Mr. Burns, and the bear crashes through the wall into Mr. Burns' mask. He's like, bear wants to live. And all the while, Professor Frink is sitting here with his remote control trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
Oh God, it's hilarious.
Yep. And so we cut back to the Simpson house, and Maggie's playing with the bear, puts it in front of the fish tank. And so we hear Lisa listening to new age music, Bart throwing a football to himself, which, I mean, I think we kind of did as kids.
Yeah. Oh, right? I did that. But I did that outside.
Yeah, not in the house. And Bart trips over, knocks a lamp over, and points it at Bobo. So the Bobo his face illuminates in the fish tank. And Homer trips on Bart's skateboard again, falls down the stairs.
How is he not paralyzed from that fall?
Well,
okay. Or dead?
Well, he
lands on his head.
Yes, he does. But wasn't there an episode of a few episodes ago where he falls down the stairs and he's paralyzed and Maggie crawls over him and the dog licks him? Wasn't that an episode not too long ago?
I think that was in season 2.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Yep. So Homer's not new to falling down the stairs.
But here's the thing. If anybody watched the San Diego Kansas City game way back in December, there is a guy for the Chargers who caught a ball and dropped it, and he snapped his neck on the field. Wasn't touched, just fell to the ground, and he was basically paralyzed for minutes.
Jeez.
It wasn't even that bad of a fall, but he hit his head. Homer fell down a flight of stairs.
Homer's invincible.
Apparently.
When are you going to learn this? But yeah, so Homer looks over at the fish tank and he's we all think he sees the bear. He's like, how long have we had these fish?
Which is an excellent question, because I think that's the first time we've ever seen that fish tank.
And we'll never see them again. We'll see. We'll check the living room again and see if we ever see the fish again. But then he realizes it's Bobo behind the fish. And so Homer says Burns getting his bear back won't be cheap. Nope. And he, wants to go to a recording studio.
No. He wants a recording studio.
Oh, that's right.
He wants the recording studio.
And we see Homer daydreaming of him singing the Big Mac theme song.
Two patties on I don't even remember the frickin' song.
Two all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, all on a sesame seed bun. Come on!
I don't remember.
Get with the times, man.
Do we even know what a sesame does? What is a sesame?
Thank you, Mitch.
You're welcome. And so, after Homer daydreams about drooling on the microphone and then drooling in real life, Lisa thinks they should just give the bear back because, Burns cherishes it, and Bart and Homer just start laughing. Honestly, I'd laugh too. I'm like, no, Mr. Burns is a bitter old man who just doesn't do anything good, and he deserves his comeuppance. And Marge, as Steve said earlier, sees that the eye is falling off and says they should sew it back on. But Bart, I kind of like this. Bart is like, we should have sent the eye to Mr. Burns because then we'll get more because he'll think that Bobo is in danger. I love it.
That's great.
That is fantastic. And so, Marge is like, well, I believe Mr. Burns will offer a fair reward. And then she's like, but then we'll make him double it. And everybody is just I was shocked. Because Marge isn't that type of person.
Yep.
And then Marge's like, what? I'm not allowed to be greedy once in a while? I'm like, you absolutely are, Marge. Marge has to put up with Homer and the kids and just is always stressed out. She deserves that double reward.
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely.
And so, so now Homer brings Mr. Bobo brings Bobo to Mr. Burns. And Burns promises to never leave Bobo behind again.
And Mr. Burns like, yes. Naturally, I can't pay you much of a reward because I'm strapped for cash. And the ceiling gives way and money and jewels pour down on him. He's like, as you can see, this old place is falling apart.
I love how a crown falls on his head, too, at the end of it.
But I'm sure we could come to an understanding.
And so Homer's sitting there and he's just like, reject the first offer. Reject the first offer. And Mr. Burns is like, can I offer you something to drink? Because, to sit down and go over, an actual deal. Yeah. But Homer thinks it's the actual offer. So he's like, no, I'm not going to take that offer, and takes back Bobo and leaves. And Burns turns to Mr. Smithers and he's like, oh, don't worry. Homer's just playing hardball. He'll crack.
But I like how, this is not the first time we've had to deal with negotiations with Homer Simpson. Now, this just is like the whole Burns not remembering who Homer... Now, I feel like Smithers, on the other hand, would be like, Mr. Burns, we've tried to negotiate with this moron before. It did not end well.
Why? Now, here's the thing. Why wouldn't, Marge and Homer not both go?
I don't know.
Because Marge should also know that Homer is bad at negotiating.
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe bring Lisa, because she's a genius. So then, the Simpsons are sitting on their couch, and I think Homer literally cracked.
Yes, like his back or something.
Yeah. And so he jumps on the phone to call Mr. Burns, and Bart, he stops him from calling because he's like, well, the longer they make him wait, the more he'll pay. And everybody is a better negotiator than Homer.
Yeah.
Even sending the eye to Mr. Burns is a better negotiation tactic. Oh my God. So, Homer's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Pauses for a beat and then jumps back on the phone. And Bart, Lisa, Marge, and Maggie all jump on Homer to try and stop him.
Well, Maggie, I get, because she's like, I want the bear.
Yes. Well, I mean, they all realize that Homer's an idiot, and and so I don't think he never actually calls Mr. Burns because Mr. Burns pulls up to the house and he knocks on the door, and Homer answers the door with all the Simpsons still on him plus the cat now.
You know what's really funny? Now, obviously this could have been a reused joke, and I still think it would have been funny in this situation. Having the hired goons again come take over. Hired goons!
No, Mr. Burns. Well, the thing is, this is personal for Burns.
Yeah, okay.
And so Burns, asks, so they all sit down. Oh, I'm sorry. Marge invites him in, and Burns asks, how much they want, and Homer's like, I want $1 million and 3 Hawaiian Islands. Good ones, not the leper one.
Good call, Homer.
Good call. Does Mr. Burns own? He apparently owns Hawaiian Islands because he.
How many are there? How many are there? 7.
I think there's 7.
That's what I'm thinking. I guess I don't exactly know how many Hawaiian. I think it's 7. Or 7 main ones. Maybe there's more islands to the Hawaiian Islands but I feel like there's 7 main islands that you could physically travel to.
There are approximately 132 Hawaiian Islands.
Wow, I was so close.
But there are
seven major ones, right?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's
okay,
8
so
major.
okay. I was at least close on that. Like I said, there's probably smaller islands in the group, but okay. So I was off by 1 for the major islands.
Yes, but there are around 130 islands total that make up Hawaii.
So I could see Burns owning 3 of some of them. I'm sure people. Dude, to be honest, I bet you people actually own.
Oh yeah,
Hawaiian Islands.
Well, billionaires.
Yeah, well, yes.
So Homer celebrates the deal. Well, I mean, why not? And the funny thing is, because don't forget, Marge said that she wanted it doubled. So really, Marge should have put it in and be like, okay, so we're gonna double that, and you're gonna give us 2 million and 6 Hawaiian Islands.
Yeah.
But no. So Homer celebrates the 1,000,003 Hawaiian Islands, and he goes to grab Bobo from Maggie. But Maggie just doesn't want to let go.
I mean, that's kind of the sad thing is no one realizes, like, during this entire time, no one actually pays enough attention to realize that Maggie
is attached
to this thing.
And so Homer's, he's able to finally pry away Bobo from Maggie, but Maggie, sits down, starts pouting, and Homer is like looking between, Burns and Maggie, and Burns like, the bears. Simpson, and then Smithers butts in, the bear, and Homer, decides he can't do it because his kid is crying.
Yep. Oh yeah.
He has a soul, man. You can't take a stuffed animal from a crying kid to give it away. You can't.
Yeah, you can. And so Homer says it's okay. They don't need his money, and they're leaving. And then that is until Abe Simpson drives his car through the living room. He's like, you gotta help me, son. I hit 3 people on the way over here, and I don't have insurance.
I don't think you have to worry about not having insurance. I think you have to worry about a hit and run, Abe.
Well, my other question is, where did Abe get a car? Because we all know he doesn't drive. What color car was it? It wasn't the Simpsons.
It was car, it was like a brownish color.
He stole it. So first of all, he stole a car. Or maybe he borrowed it from like Jasper or someone. Because I guess we don't know any of the other people in the old folks home if they drive.
Yeah.
Or not. But we all know that Abe does not have a car.
Correct. Oh my God. That is hilarious.
And so now we get Smithers and Burns up on the Flanders roof. And they shoot a zip line across. And Ned pops his head out of the window. Says, what's going on? And Burns sprays him with a sleeping agent. That's awesome.
And you just hear like Flanders fall to the ground.
Yep. And Burns like, I want to be in and out in 18 seconds. And then they go down the zip line and get stuck halfway.
Yeah. Oh, By the way, I believe that zip line is still in the Simpsons movie.
I think so too. We'll have to keep an eye on this and see when it's not. See if how much continuity they keep with this. But I like how they could have gone from, like, if you look at the thing, they went from the roof to the Simpson chimney, which is lower on the house. If they would have went from Flanders' chimney to the Simpsons chimney, they would have made it all the way across.
Yes.
Because obviously gravity.
Yes.
So now we get the fire department getting them down, and the fire truck destroyed the fence between both houses. Instead of just getting a ladder or something out there, they, had to destroy the yard. And so they're sitting on the back of the fire truck or the ambulance.
I think it's the ambulance.
Yeah, and Marge offers, Burns more hot cocoa. It's like, well, you tried, Mr. Burns. How about some hot cocoa?
Yeah.
And so now we see...
so this is the inside of the house. And I wanted to make a point of this because of the way the Simpsons house kind of is. The garage is connected to the kitchen.
Okay.
For
what purpose?
I don't know if we've established this because if
we have,
remember,
because we've talked about my Simpsons Lego house numerous times.
Because in the opening credits, they go through the garage that goes to the living room, which is weird.
Well, we see them running into the living room. We don't see where they run from.
That is
so they
true.
could go in the kitchen and then into the living room.
But they usually come from the side.
Well, they come from all different directions.
They never come through the kitchen. We never seen them come through the kitchen.
We never see them come through anywhere. They all just run into the room from by the TV. For all intents and purposes, they lined up at the TV, and then the director said, "Action!" and they ran in from the TV location.
Okay, so anyways.
So now Smithers and Burns have suction cups, and they're on the ceiling. This, oh my God, one of my favorite scenes in The Simpsons. And they're in the kitchen. They're stuck to the ceiling. Homer walks in, and he's like, time for a late night snack. And Homer's like, 64 slices of American cheese.
64?
63.
2, 1. And they do like the cut and 2, 1.
Why did it take Homer all night to eat this? Okay, now, first of all, how many hours did it take Homer to eat that thing of cheese?
So assume it's like a late night stack. Well, it is a stack of cheese. A late night snack of a stack of cheese. I'm going to go with like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, so 3 hours.
So I'm going to go like 3 hours, maybe 3.5. Okay, so here's the thing. Don't forget, cheese is a dairy. You cannot drink an entire carton of milk in an hour. I am assuming cheese acts in the same way.
I don't know.
Because it would just fill you up.
Yeah. But it's Homer, though. He can eat an entire tray of shrimp from the Frying Dutchman.
But shrimp is a different consistency than cheese.
It'll fill you up no matter what. I don't know. I think seafood and dairy might be along the same line of make your stomach upset. But anyway, so Marge walks in. Homer, were you all up night eating cheese? I think I'm blind.
By the way, you cannot go blind from eating cheese. I looked it up.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that
I think just Homer was just sleepy and sick and probably gonna die. And Smithers and Burns fall from the ceiling and just kind of walk out. But Homer notices them, so he's definitely not blind.
Yes.
And so we cut back to the plant, and we see 3 of Homer's random coworkers who we never see again.
Yep.
Wanted to come see who valued happiness of his children more than money.
That was me.
Yep. And it's like, oh, I thought his head was the size of a baseball.
What?
Well,
that's tiny.
Because he had a small brain.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And Homer's like, my life can't get much worse. And Smothers goes over the intercom. Please report for a much worse duty. And that duty is turning a wheel in a dungeon with a whipper.
Yep.
Yep. Now, I don't know if was he masked? He was a masked whipper.
He was masked.
Yep. And we learn that it's just turning a wheel of cupcakes. And we see Lenny and Carl go by. It's like, I wonder what makes that thing turn. Who cares? But I like how Homer asks the guy, during break, can I whip you?
No.
So now Homer tries to get Maggie to give him the bear by giving him a box instead. And this is just kind of like babies. It's like, oh, this is so much funner than what you're currently playing with. Now, my kid would fall for it. He'd be like, oh, I want to play with that.
Would he?
I think so. Depending on what he's currently playing with, you kind of show him something else and you make it seem really cool. Oh, he'll drop whatever he's currently doing and try to play with it. So Homer had a good chance of tricking Maggie, but Homer puts a box on his head and he's like, oh, this is a great box. Maggie's like, oh, I want the box.
Yeah.
No, get your own box. And he goes to the back corner of the room.
God damn it, Homer. He had the bear. He had it. And then it's Homer. So,
Yep, that was dumb, Homer. You had him. Yeah, you had the bear and you had to give it up. Yep. And so Homer thinks Marge hates him for not taking Burns' money. And she says, well, we need a new hairdryer, but I'm proud of you for not, bowing down to Mr. Burns. You thought of your daughter before you thought of Mr. Burns. Yeah. Take comfort in that. He's like, okay. And he puts the box on his head, and Marge takes that away after Homer, trying to be comforting. And so Marge is worse than Homer at this point.
Yep.
And so now we sit to Homer watching, TV, and it's Barney singing his 2 + 2 is 4. I use this so much. Anytime anyone gives me any guff about math or being stupid or anything, I'm like, well, 2 + 2 is 4.
Actually, 2 + 2 = 5.
Oh, does it?
Yep.
2 + 2 is 4. 2 + 2 is 4. I was like, I can see why this is so popular.
And then Mr. Burns interrupts the signal, and he's like, give me the bear, Homer.
Yeah.
And then Homer screams, and he's like, he changes the channel to the Soul Mass Transit System, which is a reference to Soul Train.
Yeah.
And I love how Mr. Burns runs. Doesn't he run onto that set? Yeah, yes. He runs onto that set to interrupt the show, and Homer's like, and he turns on the Bumblebee Man, who has a giant yo-yo, and Burns shows up there, and, out of breath, obviously, because he's running from set to set, and he's like, you won't be able to watch anything until I get Bobo back.
It's like, as you can see, Simpson, I've taken over all 78 channels, and you won't see any of your favorite shows until you give in.
And
what's that you say? You can't live without your television as long as you have beer? Wrong. All beer trucks heading towards Springfield have been diverted. This town will be dry as a bone. And if the rest of you beer swilling tube jockeys out there have a problem with us, talk to Homer Simpson.
Before we got into the beer bit, because Burns is like, oh, you can't watch TV anymore. Otto is driving the bus. He goes, that bites. And we cut to Selma and Patty, who are just like, oh my God.
Because they can't watch MacGyver.
Yep. And then as Steve went into, Burns also tells everybody there's no beer in Springfield. And so Barney shows up. Apparently it's raining out. And Barney shows up at the door with a gun, telling Homer to give the bear back. And Homer is slams the door. We hear Barney tumble, and a shot goes off, and a woman screams. And then you hear sirens in the background, and Barney just yells, uh-oh. And I think, now I don't know if this is referenced again, but there's an episode where they're eating lunch or something with Barney, and he spills a Mr. Buttersworth's syrup bottle, and he goes, oh no, not again.
Yeah.
I think that's a reference to this. But that is hilarious. Well, Barney wants it. Barney's a drunk. He wants his beer, man.
Oh yeah.
And
so it's either that or Mo would have showed it up with brandishing a butcher's knife again.
No, because don't forget, Mo probably makes his own beer.
Does he?
I don't know.
I'm sure
he has plenty of alcohol at the bar.
Yeah, come on,
that he never
guys.
uses.
Look. All beer trucks have been diverted, but there's still alcohol in the city until everyone drinks it all.
Exactly.
Yeah, they got probably about 24 hours to run out of beer, right?
Yeah. So then we cut to the school, and Bart is surrounded by the boys because Nelson's like, my old man can't get beer because his old man won't give another old man his teddy bear back. And so they're about to beat up Bart when Nelson walks in, and he's like, oh, this is the first bloom of this flower. And Nelson's like, never mind. Let's just beat up Martin instead.
Yep.
And so now I don't know if it's the next day or the same day, but Burns now has his own TV show where
is this supposed to make Springfield even crankier?
I don't know, but he opens the door and he's like, Smithers, I'm home, which may be a reference to I Love Lucy. Cause Lucy, I'm home.
Yep.
So there's that. And so, Homer is watching it and he laughs. He finds it funny.
Yeah, he's like, oh, TV's back on? Perfect. I'll watch these morons. But I like how there's like a really shitty laugh track attached to the show.
And so we see a mob has formed outside of the Simpsons house where, everybody just basically wants Homer to give Burns the bear back. And Moe yells, let's go in and get the bear. So they break down the door. And Moe takes Bobo from Maggie, and everybody cheers, and they pass the bear to the outside, and then they're all about to leave, and, Maggie starts whimpering, and Moe, turns around.
Oh, we've given Mob a bad name.
And so they returned Bobo, and, so now everybody's happy because they made a little child not cry. Yep. And Moe's like, well, what do we do now? And Skinner's like, well, why don't we go sing at the hospital? And they all walk off singing, we've got high hopes. And so now, Burns and Smithers show back up, and Burns like, I didn't want to have to do this. And Smithers gets on his hands and knees begging for Bobo back.
We all thought Burns was going to get on his hands and knees.
Come on, Mr. Burns doesn't beg.
Yeah.
And so Homer tells Burns it's not his bear, it's Maggie's bear.
Yep. And so Burns goes off to the backyard to have a chat with Maggie, and Maggie's like, offers her his pacifier. Mr. Burns is like, well, I don't know, sure. And puts a pacifier in his mouth. And you see a photo being taken of him by a paparazzi. Like, damn you, paparazzo!
So...
And so Burns then tries to grab Bobo from Maggie, and Maggie's obviously way stronger than him. Now now the funny thing is when we get to the Who Shot Mr. Burns episode, and Mr. Burns wants to try to take candy from a baby, Burns completely forgets this interaction with Maggie, realizing that he cannot take anything from a baby. And so Burns tells Maggie that she's won, and, that's it. He's like, all right, Maggie, just do me a favor and take care of Bobo.
Yeah.
And so, Maggie's like, Maggie breaks down, and she's like, okay, here, you can have your bear back. Yeah. And so, Mr. Burns is actually happy. And tells Smithers to take note. He will be good and kind to everyone. And so it's like, I don't have a pencil or paper. Don't worry. I'm sure we'll remember it.
Exactly. And he doesn't. Yes. This is where that comes. Mr. Burns doesn't remember anything.
Oh, yeah. And so we see Homer, Bart, Marge all in the backyard. And I'm confused. Mr. Burns got exactly what he wanted, but we didn't get anything. Is this a happy ending or a sad one? It's just an ending. That's it.
It's enough. It's an ending.
It's an ending.
Well, because, I feel like this is kind of making fun of, like, shows, and even, like, nowadays,
I don't think shows just end.
They don't shows just, well, not even that, but, like, there's always, like, a moral or a lesson to be learned, and this isn't the first time the Simpsons have done that.
No, it's like, remember, the lesson here is, like, they're all sitting on the couch, remember that episode?
With the college kids.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, this is, like, but, like, they've done this a few times, and it's just, like, yeah, it's an ending.
That's it. It's just an ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. And so now we see Mr. Burns in his bedroom, going to sleep, wondering what the future will hold for Bobo. And we go to the future, 1 million AD, where we have some monkeys finding him in some rocks. And Burns is with a head in a jar attached to a robot, takes Bobo back. And I like how in the background we see like some monkeys on a carriage with a bunch of Homers, pulling them. So obviously Homer got cloned.
Yes.
And society is now Homers, okay.
And monkeys.
The Planet of the Apes, basically.
Yes.
Where they clone Homer. And I like how Burns tells Bobo he'll never leave him behind ever again. And as he says that, every century, and Smithers tells Burns to wait for him, and his head on a robot dog, like he's like running, just like ruff, ruff. Yeah, great ending to a fantastic episode. I mean, this episode is probably a top 5
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
I forget which magazine it was, and I don't know when, I can't remember when this was, but there's a magazine a while ago that said this was the #2 best episode of The Simpsons ever.
I mean, it's a great collaboration. There's no ABs, no AB story. It's just one giant long story where we kind of get, everything. I mean, and the funny thing is, and we haven't hit it yet. This is probably starting in season maybe 8, 9 and on, where the first half of the episode is completely different from the back half of the episode. And I don't really call those AB stories. It's still one consistent story because AB is 2 stories going on at the same time. Yes. This is more like there's a reason everything happens. Like it's a full one story episode. And these have always been every time I've given usually a 5 is because it's just a one solid long story that's amazing. And so I'm going 5. Everything's coming up Milhouse. This is an episode that I'll watch every time it's on. If I'm just bored and want to watch a Simpson episode, this is definitely one I'll pull out of my Disney Plus and watch.
First off, before I give my grade, I would just like to say this gig sucks in Up Your Springfield.
Oh, sure.
I gotta throw that out there. No. This is a 5. Everything's coming up Milhouse. This is honestly to me as perfect of a Simpsons episode that you will find. Like no doubt. This is top 5. I mean, I would almost put this in my top 3. Like, if this episode is on, you bet your ass I'm going to put my electronics down and I'm going to watch this episode. It is so good. It's got a great balance of humor and sadness, and it's you have, the Ramones as your guest stars. I don't think they got Jimmy Carter or George H.W. Bush to be on the show.
They did not know.
No, which would have been funny, but obviously that's not going to happen. But it's so good to me. Like, I can't even nitpick anything out of this episode. It's so that, I can usually find 1 or 2 things that always nitpicky and I still give it a 5. There's nothing in this episode. Nope. What in this episode can I nitpick? I mean, I yelled about Homer not dying, but it's cartoon physics. And it's Homer. He's invincible. It's so good. And it's just, I don't know how you get any better of an episode than this one.
If you don't like this episode, you're a bad Mr. Burns.
If you don't like this episode, you're just not a Simpsons fan.
Yeah, I mean, name one Simpson fan that doesn't like this episode. I dare you. Call our... I'm going to give you our phone number. You call us if you don't like this episode.
Yeah.
So you and then
just the sentimentality of this episode too. Who can't relate to this episode?
Yeah, everyone has a childhood bear or teddy bear or dog or stuffed animal of some kind.
Just something as a kid that you cherish that you wish you still had. I mean, it's just A+, 5. Yep. It's just phenomenal.
Yep. All right, guys, let's finish it off with our character profile. And this week, we're going to highlight Future Burns. Robot Burns and a jarhead. We just talked about him 2 minutes ago. So he's seen in the year 1 million AD when apes rule the earth and all the slaves look like Homer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is this like a Jurassic Park thing where they they found Homer's DNA in a mosquito and they have a lab where they mutated him into a Homer Simpson?
Yeah. Billy and the Clonosaurus. But yeah, I mean, Homer, I don't know who would clone a bunch of Homers or who asked for that, but but type of life form he is, cyborg robot body with a human head.
Yes.
So like Nixon in Futurama.
I was just about to say, I wonder if that's where Groening got the idea from, was this episode for Futurama.
Maybe. His lifespan, seemingly immortal.
Clearly.
I mean, I feel like your head might decompose at some point, but...
Well, no, because if now remember, Futurama is in the same universe as The Simpsons.
Yeah.
So, they have the technology to keep heads in charge. Now, maybe in a million AD, I don't know if you have to, I think in Futurama, they do say you have to clean out the water.
Yes.
So unless Burns has somebody to clean out his water, I mean.
Well, how does Smithers do anything now that he's a robot dog?
We're just going to continue with the character profile.
Okay. I broke Robert. So his strengths, super speed, super extending arms.
Yep. His
weaknesses, misplaces his teddy bear every century. Yeah.
How is that bear still around?
I don't know.
That thing should be dust.
I know. Who knows, man? Nuclear war would have destroyed that thing. Yes. His allies, his loyal cyborg dog assistant, Smithers.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, this is always a fun episode. And I mean, obviously, season 5 here, we are just getting into like the best of the best. I mean, I'd hate to say it, but I don't know if you guys are going to be getting anything less than a 4 probably for the next 5 years. So just hang out with us, listen to these awesome, amazing episodes. You know, go back and watch them after you're done hear us, watch it before you hear us. You know, I mean, I know a lot of people that listen to this podcast that tell me, oh my God, you guys are so amazing going over all these old episodes. I tend to go back and watch every episode after I listen to you because I love to just kind of mirror everything you guys are saying. So, I mean, thank you to all our listeners that kind of give us the feedback that you do, that you love listening to it. So keep it up. Be sure to check us out on our social medias on Facebook, The Simpsons Did It Podcast. And if you guys aren't aware, you can listen to our podcast right on Facebook. So don't hesitate to click that podcast button and just listen to our episodes straight from Facebook. On Instagram, The Simpsons Did It Pod. Twitter, The Simpsons Did It PC. On YouTube, just search Simpsons Did It Podcast. We're only at about 48 subscribers on there, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. And,
what is it, 100 to a URL?
Yeah, 100. So it's either
52 more people.
52 more people. Let's do it, man. We got let's see, when is this airing? January 16th. So let's say by the end of 2022, I want at least 100 subscribers. Okay, let's by my birthday, March 15th. By March 15th, I want 100 subscribers. That'd be a great birthday present for all you guys.
And how about by February 13th, which is my birthday, we get up to 75 subscribers.
Okay, let's make Robert happy on his birthday and get up 75 subscribers. By my birthday, let's have 100. Let's do this, guys. Let's get this URL for us. Let's go.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to donate to us, head over to buymeacoffee.com/SimpsonsDidIt. You can also find the link in our Facebook profile and our Instagram profile if you're having a hard time finding it. But yeah, donate to our show, $5, $10, $15, $20, whatever you like. And all your proceeds are going to go towards merch, and we'll send you some of that merch as you guys donate. Lastly, make sure you give us a call. Dial our phone number. It's 612-584-0986. Listen to our fun voice message, leave us a voicemail, and you could hear yourself on the Simpsons Did It podcast. So go check that out. So until next time, I'm Steven Skolansky.
I'm Robert Skolansky.
And this has been The Simpsons Did It.
Shh.